Okay, so the outdoor classroom group, you guys can just turn left here.
The urban ecology program compels you to become more environmentally aware. It really inspires young people.
John.
You're doing something a lot of kids can't do, and you're having fun at the same time. Yeah, we tried to go higher, but we weren't tall enough.
Right.
We'd find our own data. We felt like the actual scientists, so we'd be the teachers teaching other students.
Some holes like these, they're okay.
This iTest program seemed to be a wonderful way to bringing together the traditional sciences of how ecosystems work, but then connecting them to the social needs of people who live in urban areas.
Rather than something that is decontextualized and abstract out of a textbook, the kids now have actual data on the impact of changing environmental conditions around their house.
The bird projects that we're doing include a science called bioacoustics. We're interested in whether or not the noise of the city impacts the communication systems that these birds use.
There was an article that appeared in Nature, which is one of the premier science research magazines in the world. They had found that birds in cities seem to be raising their pitch more than birds in a rural area. And so we took advantage of that idea. And, wonder if such a thing could be happening here in the U.S.
Up there it is. Right there.
We decided to engage kids in the investigation of that process. So really having the kids go out and begin to investigate cutting-edge, real scientific research.
You have the ability and the skill to actually conduct your own experiments and make your own scientific conclusions, valid scientific conclusions on what you're experimenting on.
One pair of kids are identifying the bird. Another set of kids are busy pointing the directional microphone at that bird and getting the recording.
We actually get to do something. It's like, oh, so this is how it feels like to be a scientist. I like this a lot. At this moment, the bird is calling, and then this right here is the sound of the ambulance. And then this is the blue jay call right here. It had to compete with that one.
They analyze the data that they collect having to do with the amount of bird communication and urban noise and comparing those two variables over a period of time.
So the kids have their data, they come back in, and on the computer there's installed a program called Raven Light. It was a free program from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, and what Raven Light allows the kids to do is to import the sound that they have recorded and look at it in the form of a spectrograph.
You hear it with and without the siren, so you can actually tell that the bird would definitely have to fight to get its voice heard through the siren.
The ability of this technology to make it so available to students is really extraordinary. And so a student can go out and record 20 or 30 calls and come back to the lab and within 10 minutes have all of them visualized. And then they can begin to ask quantitative questions about how these calls have changed.
So let's head to the outdoor classroom area. Feel free to spread out.
Alright, I got it. Is it level?
This is really a pinnate. It's a little confusing. The ultimate goal for the tree project is for kids to be able to think about the impact of the trees in their neighborhood in terms of economic impact, and also to look at the impact ecologically. So that's air quality impacts and pollution removal.
The research that we do and the data that we collect, we're the ones that's gathering the information and helping understand the effects. We have the power to do that.
Kids have to collect a whole series of basic information regarding the tree. They have to identify the tree species.
It's oak.
What kind of oak?
It's a lower branch.
Then they also have to understand how much carbon is actually stored in the tree, and so they measure the diameter of the tree at breast height. They use a clinometer in basic geometry to try to figure out how tall the tree is.
We got 19 feet 11 inches plus the other side, which is 6 feet 2 inches.
Kids will need to use that information when they get back into the classroom.
Come on up!
Okay, so
I want you to write one question that you have about the data.
The power of the Urban Tree Project is we engage kids in asking research questions that are the same questions that cities ask. The software program allows the kids to become, in essence, urban planners and urban designers.
Using the program, you can hypothetically put younger trees, larger. You can do anything you want with it, and you can find out the effects of that in the environment.
The students present their findings and advocate to a small group of peers about what they have learned and the changes that they recommend.
Our difference was about
$11.
$11, and for the reason that being is because pear trees don't really grow that big.
It reinforces both their scientific inquiry skills as well as their writing skills and their oral presentation skills.
So in essence, it creates a chance to practice doing a scientific argument. Here's how we did our method, here's our data, and here's our results. It is real scientific data that if somebody really wanted to use the data to investigate a research question, they could.
Being in these classrooms is just an extraordinary experience. Science is done in an integrative fashion. And what we need is a cadre of young people who understand that great science will be done only through collaboration. And so the young people working with us in this iTest project are able to see how technology can build communities.
Why is this $0? That's just not odd.
It's going to come up with some more questions. I feel like a scientific community because scientists like to share their data. I thought we found a golden finch.
Since I've been in this program, I feel like I've learned a lot. I feel like my mind's more open to things that I was never thinking about before.
Yeah, hear the bird now.
You have knowledge that your peers at your age don't normally have. You partake in experiences that most people don't really have until they go to college. So, it creates a sense of distinction.
The vertical farming project emerged from our students' work. One of the projects that they completed was the analysis of a food desert in the city of Boston. So the kids found, typically what other researchers have found, is that the areas in the city that were lower income, tended to be more minority populated, had less access to healthy food. And the kids came to us and said, what can we do about this? And we go, well, we're not sure, but let's look around. So we began to reach out to the private sector. And in doing that, we learned about hydroponics and aeroponics and the idea of vertical farming. And so we met a gentleman, Irving Backman, who has donated all the equipment to us to get us up and running. And he's given us a carousel, which spins so you can grow food in a circle, vertical towers, some classic hydroponic systems, a starter seeder system where you can begin to grow sprouts and things like that. Our vision is that we're going to have kids growing their own food right in the lab, and then they can be able to sell that food at farmers markets, give it away to their parents, families, nephews, nieces, whoever who might need the food. And along the way, we're going to be training kids on STEM-oriented careers, so helping the kids get excited about science, technology, or something around engineering or mathematics, so that they can begin to enter the workforce with these skills in place so they can potentially find a green career. Is our mobile applications project, and that's involving development of a tree application for the iPhone operating system and the Android operating system. The vision around that is trying to get users or citizens, students, teachers, whoever might use it, excited about the ecological value of trees. And how we're doing that is the system will be able to identify a tree, and it will help you walk through what a particular tree species might be and its ecological value. And then if you don't know, you can push out to the system, say, help me, I don't know what tree this is. And another user will go, oh, I know what tree this is. And it will come back and it will tell you, oh yeah, that is a Norway maple that was outside your house, and here's its ecological value. And what we're envisioning is that will start to create a community of users who are excited about trees, such that we'll be able to have a database of almost all the trees that are in urban areas.
Well, good morning, folks. I'm glad that we're all here. This gives us an opportunity to go down to the stream where we can gather some of the water quality data, and we're going to do a general assessment of the site. So let's get going. You know, when we first encounter these kids, their vision of their neighborhoods are streets and buildings. And they're amazed that there really is a whole ecosystem that underlies the city. If we don't care for this community, who will? We have over 1,000 students each year that work with us both in school and out of school, and also during the summer. Let's just review what we think is happening with urban noise and the way that birds sing. We know from the studies that were done. So our goal at the Institute is to get young people outside to discover the environment that's around them. In the meantime, to do this as active scientists. As the environment becomes more noisy, the birds change the frequency and literally sing at a higher pitch. So we're looking to see if those same kind of patterns exist in birds in our city. So off we go. The kids we work with are the ones that live in the most economically challenged communities in the city. We've created a myth in America that to be successful, you go to school, you get good grades, and then you leave your neighborhood. And the problem with that model is that it's causing our cities to decay. Tree measurers. Going to start with that tree.
It's a simple
leaf.
Simple leaf.
Yeah.
And it's alternating.
Yeah.
And it's
That's a pineate.
yeah, it's pineate leaf.
There is a tremendous sense of hopelessness about young people. When I work with these young people, I feel hopeful because I see the excitement, I see the ownership, I see the stewardship in their activities and their beliefs. So what are you hearing?
I believe that they're singing calls to each other about where they are and what's going on around them because this is their territory.
This is their home.
The calls that they're sending out, I believe, is warning calls. You know, they're keeping a watchful eye out for their territory, but they're not going to come too close.
This is amazing how noisy this environment is for us. Imagine what it's like for them to have to scream over this noise. These are citizen scientists. These are stewards of their communities. And they're gathering data that are useful and critical in managing urban landscapes. I feel particularly blessed to be able to do the kind of work that I'm doing. I ended up dropping out of high school because I needed to help care for my mom who was sick, and I went to work full-time. And for me, it was non-traditional mentors that helped me on my pathway. And I feel that that's the least that I can do for a community that has privileged me so much with this kind of work, is to go back and help other folks on non-traditional paths. All these people driving by in their cars have probably never given this place a second look.
You know, this was all white noise to me, like the bird song. You know, I didn't have a care for trees. But now in this urban ecology study, it really revitalized my mind and my perception.
We can reach these kids in these urban centers, in their neighborhoods, and help them see just how beautiful and how much opportunity really exists in their neighborhood. They can become local stewards. And instead of leaving their neighborhood, they'll stay and make positive change. These kids really are the flowers in an urban garden.